Evening, everybody. Yeah, so Jeff and Bob had said, hey, go up there and preach. It's been a while, and I've actually brought in PowerPoint as well. Now, last time I was down here with just the Bible, so we're going to see how it goes, and then stick with me. I got about 20 minutes, as I was told, but we might go long, we might go short. I haven't timed it, so we'll see. But Sermon of the Hour, so resilience is what we have for this one. So the capability to withstand, recover quickly from difficulties. This came from the Google. You just search it. That's the first thing that comes up as far as what resilience is. So resilience. We got Minerva in the back, so good timing. So resilient. Picture of resilience maybe. So think about that for a moment for resilience. Resilience, probably the Olympics. A swimmer. Been training for years, probably since they were a young child, just working the train. So a baby. So in a sack for 9 months, roughly, give or take. Mine were much less than that. But 9 months in the sack, act of being born. So parents, you can explain that to your kids if you have kids out here. You can explain that for yourselves, but you have that. So able to live in water while in the womb. Don't do that after. But while in the womb, able to live in water, so get everything from the mother. So as far as all the oxygen, all the food, everything like that. Extreme flexibility. I don't think I can touch my toes exactly, but I mean, that's where, a baby is going to be in there. Mine were like on top of each other. Logan had the penthouse, and just on top of everybody, and then Connor kept on kicking everybody. But that's how it was. It's like, I would go crazy personally if I was stuck in a sack for 9 months. I just couldn't handle it. So that's where, physical challenges. So this is actually physical resilience, at least in my opinion, as far as what physical resilience is. I don't know if you guys agree with that or not, but I think most of those things that I listed before, you probably wouldn't be able to do, especially living underwater for all that time. So for basically a swimmer, somebody that's professional, even in your life. Now, so you're going to have a physical and mental training, drive to be better, not giving up. This kind of goes along with your regular life. Having a goal, persistence, and failure. Why did I make failure a big, bold letter? Because you're going to have it, you're going to have a lot of it, and then you got to get back up from it. So there's going to be a lot of things that come from failure that you can learn from. And without failure, you will not get better. So that's where we have, for a lot of these times nowadays, or even before, not putting down to anybody that enjoyed participation trophies, but there's a winner and the loser. That's how things go. You fail, you get better, you try harder. That's how all that works. Failure is an important part of life. Diamonds. Diamonds are made from pressure, heat, and time. So you would probably not put a piece of coal on a ring. It's not very popular as far as you having that thing, just a big chunk of coal just stuck on a ring, say, look what I got. That's amazing. So you got a diamond that's been put through that pressure, put through earth. There's the lab-created ones that does the same thing. I think people would rather have the real ones versus the fake ones or produced ones. But it's still made from the same thing. So the same thing is taking that coal, putting it under heat, putting it under pressure to create something that people really covet as far as a diamond goes. So that's something that is a part of life, part of things that you do. So Isaiah, you pass through the waters. I will be now with you, and through the rivers, they will not overflow you. When you walk through the fire, you will not be scorched, nor will the flames burn you. Isaiah 43:2, and that's the New American Standard in 1995 edition. So failure is discouraging. If anybody see the little thing down there as far as the little bowl, a little discouraging when you have breakfast and you're all excited for that, and wake up in the morning and everything else. You might look like this. I have to zoom in on it. Not anybody I know, just pulled it off the internet. But that kind of goes through as far as what you might feel through failure, no matter what level it is or what part of your life is. Your insides might look like this, even though you might not express it the same way. This was a failure. What is that? Post-it notes. Why was this a failure? This was by accident in 1968. So Spencer Silver, he was a researcher, 3M. So their whole goal was to make something stronger, a better bonding agent, and then they came up with Post-it notes, an item that could stick and then not leave residue. Definitely a failure as far as what their goal was. They came up with something else that was not their intention, but I think everybody has Post-it notes. Everybody's used Post-it notes at one time or another, and that was an accident. Wasn't an intention, was not what they wanted to do. So this is from actually the Post-it website. So it's part of the job of a researcher. It says here, basically, they want to develop a bigger, stronger, tougher adhesive. Who would recommend or who would say that a Post-it note is a better, tougher, stronger adhesive? Probably not. But that's what they came up with, and they found that it actually would work. So basically, it has the characteristics of sticking and also being able to peel off easily. So failure that turned into something that everybody uses. So 1968 till now, Post notes, and probably forever. But 40% rule. So David Goggins, if you haven't known of him, he has a potty mouth, of course, but he's one that pushes himself to the very brink of his physical capabilities. He went from being very overweight to going to the SEALs, and he actually pushed himself so many times. He has the videos that he puts online, kind of tells you get to it basically, and then he would have videos of like getting fluid pulled from his knees and everything as he's running, and he just continues to do it. He just pushes and pushes. So his idea, so basically when you feel like you're totally wasted, you have nothing more to give, you're pretty much 40% done. A lot of it comes down to your mentality as far as what you're going to do. So you have another 60% if you would push yourself. Granted, you might damage yourself past recognition, but you could push yourself that other 60%. So a lot of that's mentality. So a lot of people that give up, a lot of the SEAL teams, even I think it's about a third that pass or something like that. A lot of them give up because they physically could do it, but they mentally could not, and they give up. So that's where a lot of life, there's a lot of times when we might feel that we're at our end, we can't go on anymore. You're only at 40%. Keep them going. Resilience. So going back to that first part. So capability to withstand, recover quickly from difficulties. So think about those things in your mind. You probably have multiple things that come up as far as difficulties that you've had within your life and within the time that you've been around. And it differs from person to person. Some people can have like unimaginable difficulties that you might never know about. They might have the worst situation that you would see on a movie screen, and they lived it themselves, but you would never know. But they went through things, and they became resilient. They became able to overcome. So building resilience. So pressure, heat, time. That's what I said about the diamond side of things. So success, failure, and getting back up. Support, guidance, knowledge, and also knowing that your finish line is not here. So your finish line is heaven. So that's where you're trying to get to. That's where your goal is. Because a lot of times when you're running a race, that never ends. So you say that you get up, you're running, and you're running. Every day you do this, like, what was that, the movie that repeats itself? Anybody? Groundhog's Day? Groundhog's Day? If you haven't seen it, it repeats itself over and over again. So every day you get up, run, get up and run. You have no end. You have no idea when you're going to end. Most of us, at least I would, feel like why am I running? Like, what's the purpose? What are we running for? Why are we running? Where are we running to? I don't know, I'm just running. So at least with Forrest Gump, he ran from coast to coast, and he knew he was at the end because he got there. There was an end. So that's where a lot of times that can affect our emotions as far as what we feel that we can do, because at least now we know we have an end. So our end is past our physical life, and we go to heaven. So have that strength to get through because you know where you're going. You know where that finish line is. You know where your race will end. At least that's your goal, is to have that race end there. Matthew 11:28 through 30. very common for this one, but I think it's very pertinent as well. So come to me, all who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke is easy and my load is light. Note that it does not say my load is non-existent. Your load will be lighter, you'll have that ability, but you will still have to carry something. You're not, once you become a Christian, you're not like relieved of everything. You're not, everything is going to be great, everything will be wonderful. Now everything is easy because I found Christ, and now nothing wrong will happen. Nothing at all will ever happen to me that will cause me to feel like, what am I doing? It'll be lighter because you know who to reach to, you have words to guide you, but it will be lighter if you follow the right path. So what's my theory on life? I'll leave that up for a moment so you can kind of take a guess on what these lines mean. I just have A and B on this slide so you can kind of see. So you have a blue line going down, you have the orange line going up, and then that is going to have at least my idea as far as how your life goes, at least some of it for me, as we'll get discussed in a little bit. But next one, so resilience crossover. So I haven't heard it spoken in this way. Maybe some of you have now as far as things go. But the physical side, as we talked about, so as a baby, physical resilience is really high. Able to be born, able to just deal with all those things physically as you get born and as you're really young. And then your spiritual side at that point is very low. So as you age, as you learn, your spiritual side goes up, and then your physical resilience sadly goes down. I don't know if you've ever experienced, like, I went to sleep one day and then my neck gave out on me or my back, and I'm just like, I was just sleeping. So I'm sorry, that's how life goes. And probably other people are well aware of that as far as like sneezing and your back goes out. But physical resilience goes down, but spiritual should go up as long as you're learning as far as your life, following the Bible, listening, learning. Your spiritual side should be going up as your physical resilience goes down. And that's life cycle. You know that there's going to be an end. Again, we talked about a race. You're going to have an end to your physical life. And if you set up the right stones, then you're going to actually be able to do and actually continue on with your spiritual life. So hypothetical life problems. As you see on this one, I just threw a line up there. One thing that you notice is it never goes to zero. Your life problems through your whole life doesn't go to zero. It might feel like you're coasting along on the highway, everything's going pretty smoothly, and then you get a tire blown out, your car catches on fire, you're given a horse instead of a car, I don't know, whatever it is. But your problems will always exist. And sometimes it's going to feel that your problems are well past this. So if you're born and you have a lot of medical conditions, then your problems are maybe high at the first, maybe evens out, goes back down, lose a house. I mean, we're having fires around here. So you lose your house, your problems feel like they're probably pretty high. But that's kind of where it goes along, and your physical, your spiritual resilience as that goes surpasses kind of those life struggles. So everybody will have struggles. So if you ever feel that you'll never have it, so no matter what age you are, then you're going to have struggles, but you're going to have to be, you are able to handle that because of all the trials that you had. Then you can get through it, and it doesn't feel as big. It doesn't feel like you can't go on from what you're dealing with. You just have that physical or the spiritual resilience and that mental resilience to be able to do those things. Your most difficult time is the most difficult time. What does that mean? So for you, in your walk, your most difficult time that you can remember is going to be that most difficult time. Somebody might think, well, that's nothing. Like, you know what I went through, you're dealing with nothing. Not at that time. For that person, that is the most difficult time that they've ever experienced in their whole life, that their whole world's falling apart, they have nothing to live for, it's over. Even though if you fast forwarded years ago or years later, you would know that, well, that was a bump in the road, like, keep on going. But at that time, that would be the most difficult time in their life because it's per person, per walk, there's difficulties. James 1:12, blessed is the man who perseveres under trials, for once he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life, which the Lord has promised to those who love him. Also New American Standard, 1995. The most difficult time is the most difficult time, or their most difficult time is the most difficult time. How to help someone build resilience. So understand where their abilities are. So that's through basically being able to know somebody. You kind of know where they are in their walk, especially with kids. You're trying to build them up. You know what they can handle, and then you kind of have to know what you can give them. Don't fix a problem. I personally struggle with that. I think it's a male trait. If I hear a lot of things that happen, males want to fix, wives tell and want to talk, and then we're like, okay, well, do this and then it'll be done. Do this thing, and then that problem that you have, that you're telling me right now, that's going to be over. And they don't want to hear that. And we, at least me, I struggle with that, as I put on here. So I struggle with that. So I want to try and fix, and that's out of my care. I'm not saying that I don't hear the person. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm seeing your problem, and for me, I'll do this. For me, I'll do this and do that. And then it might make them feel that I'm not listening. He's like, well, I just want to tell you what's going on. I don't want you to fix my problem. And then for that, help them problem solve. So it's not taking on their things. So that's one thing that you can't necessarily do to help somebody grow. You can't go, well, I'm having this problem. Okay, well, let me take that for you. I'm having this problem. Oh, let me take that for you and I'll fix it. You can't fix everybody's problems. You have to allow them to be able to do it on their own. Allow them to grow, allow them to figure things out. That is the way that they will learn. That's the way that they will also help other people, is to allow them to figure out how to solve problems, how to move forward, direct them to the correct resources. So that's another thing as far as if you've gone through something, if you're able to figure those things out, that's where you can direct them to either the scripture side, to the proper people, to actually help out to get through that thing that they're dealing with. And then going back to that one is allow failure. Allow failure. Very difficult to do, especially when you really love and care for somebody. How do you allow them to fail? It's very hard to allow somebody to fail. Because you care, you want to be there, you want to take away all their pain. You can't. And you are doing folks a disservice in taking away things because they need to be able to process. They need to be able to figure it out. They need to be able to take care of their things to a point on their own. They have to be able to fail. Riding a bike, you have to be able to fall down. Sadly, my kids don't ride a bike yet. You guys got to ride a bike. You tried to. And that's Logan, so he's trying to. But that's one thing is like you have to allow folks to fail, because through that failure and through that learning, through getting them back up, we'll teach them how to handle things and let them know that failure isn't the end. Failure is a part of life, and as you go, you're going to learn more, you're going to keep on moving, and you're going to keep on going. When needed, basically ask if you can utilize another resource. So there's confidentialities and everything like that when you talk to folks and they're asking you problems. So there's maybe not dealing exactly with a family member, but with somebody within the church, somebody within work. You would see, oh, I don't have the resources, I don't have the knowledge or ability to guide you in this. So may I find some other resource to help you with this? And also don't gossip about the problem. So especially if somebody comes to you and they're giving you their problem, they're at their wit's end, they're to a point where well, I need to talk to somebody about that. You're at the point where that should be between you and them, and it shouldn't be kind of spread around and be able to, because you're going to lose that trust. So the whole reason why somebody comes and talks to you is because they trusted in you to be able to either talk to them, help them, guide them. And if you're going to be telling everybody else and they hear it in the halls and everything else, you're not going to be talked to again. That's not going to happen. People are not going to be able to put that trust that you're going to be able to basically help them out and also keep it to yourself in a sense. Support, don't minimize. If someone honors you with sharing the hardship, so utilize your own struggles, and I guess I would actually stick on that a little bit more. So the honor. Is it an honor to have somebody bring problems to you? It is, because they trust you enough to say, I'm struggling, please help, or please talk me through this, or anything else. But they're opening up. Also within the male world, mostly, I think it's the most suicide rates and everything else. There's June, I think June was the suicide prevention month, I think, for men. You have media campaigns on it, on social media, but you realize that most men, at least that I know, wouldn't come forward. You would have the, I'm okay, you good? I'm good. And then they'll move on. They'll try to figure it out on their own, and they'll try to push through because it's a matter of just, well, I'm not going to burden somebody else with that. I can do this on my own. I'm not going to take it out on them. So that's put on the male population, I think, a little bit more, and then you're not looked as weak necessarily on the female side, at least that's what it seems. Anybody agree? Maybe, maybe not. But that's where it goes on that one, so allow that to go, for that honor of things. So help to guide and direct, and don't one up. So again, going back to that trust that comes out from somebody coming to you. If they say, I'm having this issue, my dog died, and my dog was the world to me, it was my child. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just lost my grandmother yesterday. It's like, get over it, it's a dog. So how would that person feel when they're struggling to have their own things and you go, you're dealing with nothing? So that doesn't make the person feel like you care. It doesn't feel like you're the one that they're going to come to again, because everybody has their struggles. Something that might be nothing to you is everything to them. And then also, that's just how it goes. It's just try to be there for folks and not to be better, or it's also maybe even trying to relate. I think that's where it comes out more, is just trying to relate. It's like, okay, well, you're having that problem, I had this problem as well. It's like, okay, well, I'm talking about my problem and not your problem. But that's how you just come out and actually allow them to do that. So don't one-up them as far as their problem to kind of minimize that. Reference the word. So if you can go back to the scripture, go back to some of the studies, and then refer back to, okay, well, these are some of the examples of people that were doing this in the past, and this is how it was directed to go about doing that. And truly listen. Again, I mean, it's hard to do sometimes with everything going on in the world, everything going on in media, phones, as Bob was talking about this morning, as far as like phones are necessities, internet necessities. It's not necessities, but it does become that because you feel like you need it. You feel like you need to have that to kind of function. So look at that. Out of all those things, kind of look at who you can confide in, as far as who you think that you would be available to talk to. So think about that, because a lot of times like we have basically at the end to say, come forward if you need to. You're coming forward in front of everybody. You're coming forward for help. That's good, but sometimes you just want the one-on-one. Sometimes you have that trust level with that one-on-one that you want to just talk to that person and not bring your problems in front of everybody. It helps you through things, but find out who you can confide in. So if you cannot do that part, find that one person or those other people that you can talk to. John 16:33. These things I have spoken to you, so that in me you may have peace. In the world you have tribulations, but take courage. I have overcome the world. Resilience. So that's where it is. So a lot of the things that we have in resilience is just building that up, and it's over time, and it's something that we work on, and it's something everybody can do. It's a skill, it's a learned thing, and it's also just something that you work towards. But that is going to be resilience. If you guys have anything that you do need, if you do feel comfortable coming forward and everything else, then you can do that. But at this time, we're going to go through with the song 344.